How's it going, everyone? This is my video explaining my senior project, which is of course an automated machine. Being an electromechanical engineering student here at Murray State, I built, designed, and have implemented an automated machine with industrial automation standards. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. What you're looking at is a fully automated hot chocolate machine. So let's go ahead and begin with temperature. This guy right here is our temperature controller. And what this does is it takes a millivolt reading coming from this wire, which can get traced down to our electric kettle on the inside. So the millivolt reading feeds the temperature controller. The temperature controller interprets it and reads the temperature. So right now we're sitting at 160 degrees. And if you look, our set point is 160 degrees. So it's doing a perfect job here of regulating our temperature. Now, when the temperature drops too low, you see it's 159 right now. So when it drops low, what happens is the temperature controller closes a relay, which then turns on the electric kettle and heats the water up until the temperature controller decides that it's heated enough, or it reached the set point of 160 degrees. Here, the electric kettle has turned on now that the temperature controller is reading a low reading, and as you can see, it's heating to a high reading, and so the temperature, or the electric kettle, has shut off. The next major piece of engineering here is the pumps. Pump 1 and Pump 2. Pump 2 is responsible for filling the electric kettle with water. The water originates from this reservoir down here, and when the program tells it to, it kicks on, which refills the electric kettle. When the program decides it's appropriate, the second pump, Pump 1, pumps water from the electric kettle, hot water, through the pump, and then into our mixing chamber where it's mixed with hot chocolate powder to make our hot chocolate. Another major piece of engineering is the flavor dispensers. So here we have 3 different flavors of hot chocolate: chocolate supreme, salted caramel, and mint. Now the user selects these in a touchscreen, which we'll get into. Based on their selection, the PLC turns on one of 3 of these motors. Now, as the motor rotates, it spins augers on the inside. And as these augers spin, powder is dispensed into the mixing chamber. Finally is the marshmallow dispenser. This happens after the powder has been dispensed into the mixing chamber and hot water has been pumped into the mixing chamber, and the valve opens. When the valve opens, the hot chocolate flows into this cup. Now after that auger that you see inside there spins, which dispenses dehydrated marshmallows into this cup. So how do you power such a machine? Well, the 120 can just be plugged into a simple wall outlet, as seen here. Now the 120 comes in through this circuit breaker and is distributed through these jumpers. Then the 120 can be broken down into different voltages and supplied to the different equipment. Here we have 2 computer chargers, which we use as 12-volt power supplies. Here we have a 24-volt power supply, and this powers the PLC and the relays. Each one of these relays takes a 24-volt signal from the PLC and then uses it to close a 12-volt signal to go through the various dispensers, these 3 for flavors, this for marshmallows, and then your pumps, and then finally the valve. So let's go ahead and walk through the touchscreen. Now, full disclosure, this is obviously not a touchscreen. We've had issues getting the touchscreen application into the actual touchscreen. So here we have the simulated touchscreen on a computer monitor. So first we have the touch to begin, and you can touch anywhere on the screen to go to the next screen. Now we have the temperature selector. On the left here, the temperature scale gives the user an idea of what hot water is versus cold water for hot chocolate. If the user says that the temperature is not okay, it brings them to a temperature adjuster screen where they can adjust the temperature on the temperature controller. Now, if the user says that the temperature is okay, it brings them to the select your size screen. Now the user can select small, medium, or large. As you can see here, an animation shows up to give the user feedback based on what they've selected. Next, the user selects their flavor. Now, before they select their flavor, they can hit nutrition facts, and this will bring up the nutrition facts for all 3 flavors. Hitting the X gets rid of the nutrition facts. For the sake of this video, let's go with salted caramel. So now we've selected our flavor, so let's continue. Now this is the screen where you decide if you want marshmallows. Not just if you want marshmallows, but how many marshmallows do you want? Of course, we want a lot of marshmallows. Next, this brings us to a screen where we are ready to pour. Pouring is the entire sequence of getting our hot chocolate. Maintenance is for the individual manual overrides to control the outputs. So I'm going to hit pour, and you can watch the sequence begin. Now, the water that was pumped will be replaced by the other pump. So that's filled. And now, because the temperature controller says we got cold water, it's blue, so it's kicked on. Now here in a minute, our valve will turn on, which will dispense the water into the cup. There's your hot chocolate. And there's your marshmallows. Now, just to show you that I trust my product, here's the hot chocolate you just saw dispensed. Not too shabby. Now, on a side note, let's talk about the automation of this project. It may seem like, okay, a hot chocolate machine, what's the big deal? Well, building in that internal logic and intelligence so that you can choose flavors and get the right motors to turn on, having the cold water pump and the hot water pump both turned on at the same time, because let's face it, you don't want to be drinking cold hot chocolate, as well as having the valve kick on at the right time and having the marshmallow dispenser kick on the right time, is all the automation that happens in this project. Not only that, but having all that automation happen at the click of the button. I pressed the pour button and all of a sudden the machine cycled. No other clicks from me, no other action needed. Hot chocolate.